Decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, they're this truly revolutionary idea. Just think about it. An organization that basically runs itself on a blockchain. The rules are just code, it's all out in the open for everyone to see, and the community is in charge. It's this incredible vision for a future that's more open, more fair, more efficient. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive problem hiding in plain sight. This futuristic idea is on a collision course with a legal system that's frankly stuck in the past. So let's dig into what that collision really looks like.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break this whole legal puzzle down into 5 key parts. We'll start with the #1 danger that every single DAO faces. Then we'll look at the patchwork of solutions popping up all over the US and zoom out to see the global race to attract these new organizations. After that, we'll see how the courts are hitting back, and we'll wrap it all up with the one critical choice every DAO has to make if it wants to survive.
All right, let's dive right in. The heart of the problem is this fundamental clash. You have this beautiful ideal of a leaderless, borderless organization running headfirst into a legal system that has one simple question: who's in charge here? And more importantly, who's on the hook when things go wrong? At its core, a DAO is just loaded with benefits, right? You get total transparency because everything's on a public ledger. It's super efficient because smart contracts do all the heavy lifting. And it puts the community in the driver's seat, which is amazing. It's meant to be global and unstoppable with no single point of failure. I mean, it sounds absolutely perfect, doesn't it? Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When there's no CEO to sue, no corporate headquarters to send a legal notice to, the traditional legal system just short circuits. It doesn't know what to do. And when the law gets confused, it falls back on a default setting. And that default is absolutely terrifying. And here it is. This is the nightmare scenario. If a DAO doesn't have a formal legal structure wrapped around it, the courts will likely see it as a general partnership. So what does that mean for you? It means that every single person who holds a token and votes on a proposal could be held personally liable for everything the DAO does. We're talking unlimited liability. Your house, your savings, it could all be on the line. And the problems don't stop there. I mean, not even close. Without what's called a legal personality, a DAO is basically a ghost. It can't legally own its own software. It can't sign a contract with a developer. Then there's the massive confusion over which rules apply. Is it a security, a commodity? Who knows? And with members all over the world, it's just pure jurisdictional chaos. Whose country's laws are we even supposed to follow? So this legal void has created this really fascinating situation here in the US. It's turned individual states into these little laboratories, each one running its own experiment, trying to figure out how to solve this massive DAO problem. Let's take a look at what they're cooking up. So if you zoom out, you can see these state experiments really fall into 2 main camps. On one side, you've got what's called the wrapper approach. Think of states like Wyoming and Tennessee. They're trying to take existing legal boxes, like an LLC, and stretch them to fit a DAO inside. But on the other side, you've got a much more radical idea, the new entity approach, from places like Utah and New Hampshire, which are building brand new custom legal structures from the ground up just for DAOs. Okay, I know this table looks like a lot, but you can really see those 2 big ideas in action here. You see Wyoming and Tennessee using those wrappers, basically adapting the LLC laws we already know. They're betting that the old system can be tweaked. But then look at Utah and New Hampshire. They're creating totally new kinds of entities. It's a much bigger gamble, a bet on a totally new legal future. And each one has different rules for liability and governance, which is why this is such a hot debate. But you have to see what New Hampshire is doing because it's truly revolutionary. Their new law basically says that the intent of the code is law. This is huge. It means the law will look at the DAO's smart contract, its automated rules, and recognize that as the primary source of truth for how the organization is governed. It's a massive step in bridging the gap between tech and law. Okay, let's zoom out because this isn't just happening in the US. There is a full-on global race underway. Different countries and jurisdictions all over the world are competing to become the go-to legal home for DAOs, trying to attract all of that innovation and all of that capital. The Marshall Islands, for example, has made a really aggressive play here with a framework that's about as DAO native as you can get. Their law explicitly recognizes token holders as the legal members of the company. It even gets rid of the old requirement for a board of directors, which perfectly aligns the legal stuff with how DAOs actually work. Switzerland, on the other hand, is being, very Swiss about it. They're leaning on their rock-solid reputation for stability. They basically offer 2 options. A DAO can set up as an association, which is pretty quick, cheap, and flexible. Or if you're a big project that needs serious credibility, you can become a foundation. It's more work, but it comes with that powerful Swiss seal of approval. And then, of course, you've got the classic offshore jurisdictions. The Cayman Islands has these things called ownerless foundations that are tax neutral. But the real kicker for many is that they don't require you to report the ultimate beneficial owners, the actual people who control the thing. That's a huge deal for privacy. Panama offers a similar package, with super high confidentiality and no tax on foreign income. Meanwhile, the Abu Dhabi Global Market, or ADGM, is trying to build the total package, a complete one-stop shop for DAOs. Their new framework is built on English common law, which is respected globally, but it also allows for governance by token vote, and you don't even need a physical office there. It's a really compelling mix.
So when you look at the big picture globally, you see that same fundamental debate playing out everywhere. You've got places like the Marshall Islands building something brand new, tailor-made for DAOs. And then you have others, like Switzerland and the Caymans, that are just adapting the trusted legal tools they already have. For any DAO, the choice really comes down to a big trade-off. Do you want a custom-built suit, or one that's off the rack but comes with a famous brand name?
But it's not all about finding a friendly country to set up shop in. Back here in the US, the existing legal system is starting to wake up, and it is not waiting around for new laws to be written. The courts and even Congress are starting to weigh in. And honestly, the results are a massive wake-up call for this entire industry.
This quote right here, this should send a shiver down the spine of anyone involved in an unstructured DAO. In a real court case involving Lido DAO, one of the biggest DAOs on the planet, a U.S. court said it was plausibly a general partnership. This isn't a theory anymore. This is a judge saying, yes, you token holders could be personally on the hook for what this DAO does. And Lido isn't a one-off. It's happening again and again. The CFTC went after the Oki DAO founders, basically saying we don't care about your decentralization claims. In the BZX DAO case, same story. Token holders were treated like partners in a partnership. These rulings are setting a series of really dangerous precedents for any DAO that's operating out there without a proper legal shield. So with all this chaos, Washington is finally starting to make a move. The Clarity Act is this huge piece of legislation that's trying to create clear rules of the road. Its main goal is to finally draw a line in the sand and decide which digital assets are securities to be handled by the SEC and which are commodities for the CFTC. This is the clarity the industry has been screaming for. And hidden inside that massive bill is this one little number that could change everything: 5%. The bill creates a safe harbor, a protected status for DeFi projects where no single person or group controls more than 5%. This is huge. It creates a real, measurable incentive for projects to actually decentralize, to move beyond just talking about it. So where does all this leave us? It brings us to our final, and maybe most important section. For anyone who's part of a DAO, a founder, a contributor, even someone who just holds a few tokens, all of this legal drama boils down to one single critical strategic choice. Look, after everything we've talked about, it really comes down to a clear 4-step path to safety. Number 1, you have to acknowledge the risk. The default setting is unlimited personal liability, period. Number 2, figure out your goals. Is this a for-profit venture or is it a nonprofit public good? That choice matters. Number 3, compare all the global options we've just discussed. And finally, number 4, and this is the most important one, implement a legal shield. In today's world, operating without one is just asking for trouble. And that leaves us with the ultimate question, right? This fundamental tension between the radical, decentralized dream and the harsh reality of the law is the defining challenge for this entire space. Can DAOs find a way to get the legal protection they so desperately need without killing the very things that make them so special in the first place? Can they actually have the best of both worlds? The race to figure that out is happening right now.